Hi, okay, back for another book chat, and today's book is Fast Forward. This is a totally unique story here, and I hope it doesn't take too long because it's kind of a long one. But Fast Forward began when I just had this kind of this character idea, and I wanted to play with it, and so I would write a little bit and, put it aside for, a day or two or three, and then I'd write a little bit, and a little bit was just, 300-400 words, and I'd set it aside. And then I started sharing with some friends, and that got kind of cumbersome, so I put it on a blog. And if I recall correctly, I think I called the blog Fairy Tales. And then I have a message board, and the conversations about Willow started taking over the main page of the board, and so I created a child board and a separate forum in the message board, and we called it the Whoopies because it was for the Willow groupies. And that board just kind of spiraled. It became this fairly large thing, but meanwhile I just kept writing, and I wasn't planning on this going anywhere. It was just something I wanted to write, and so I just kept writing and writing and writing, and I wrote a lot. And that was in about 2005. Well, 2012 came along, and I hired my publicist, who said, "We are going to publish Fast Forward." And I went, "How? It's just this really long, we're talking hundreds of thousands of words. Rambling, there's no end to it. It's kind of a blog opera, And she's like, "Take it down. We're going to do this. You need to start editing it. Get ready. We're going to do a serial novel." And I had no clue that anyone ever, that was like Dickens, right? And we didn't know what we were doing. She knew some, but not for something on as grand a scale as I had. And so we titled it, and I made a point of saying in every episode, that it was only part of the whole thing. And the reason that we did it as a serial novel was so that I could give it away. And that's the thing that I was really excited about, because of course I love to give things away, right? And so, but to do that, you only get, Amazon, I have a contract with Amazon, and I have to keep, if I keep my stuff exclusive to them, I can give it away for 5 days every quarter. Well, that's not very much time. And so I had to be really careful with how to do it and why to do it. And, people were like, "It's free. If it's free, why can't you give it away all the time?" Well, I can't and use Amazon to do that because of that contract. And then the other people were like, "Why are you giving your book away? You can't just give it away. You need to," and it's like I couldn't win, Some people wanted it free all the time, and other people were like, "You should never give it away," But it grew such a huge following so quickly. It was amazing. I got letters. I actually got a few actual pen and paper letters, but I got emails every day. I still get emails every month, talking about Willow, and the women would say, "I want to be Willow. I want her life. I want her." And I actually explored that a lot. It's not finished, but I actually have a book planned. I've been writing it for years now, living Fast Forward, because I realized that what people want most from Willow isn't necessarily to copy her life, although some, do want that homesteading. Others want it because they like the purposefulness behind it. And so I started, doing interviews with people. "Can you tell me about your, how you purposefully do whatever it is, apartment living in New York City, or mission work in the Congo, or, wherever." I wanted purposefulness. And so I've done a lot of interviews, and that's still in progress, but it is a hard book to write. Just because it's a totally different type of writing, and it requires more research, and the actual writing part is easy. It's easier to write than anything I've ever done, but the research behind it and making sure that I get people's narratives edited for clarity but without changing their words and getting their approval. It's kind of a pain. But it's going to be done because it's really important to me. But anywho, so it started, and I started breaking, I broke it into episodes, and those became volumes, and then those, we ended up with 6 volumes, and there were over 100,000 words in each one. There are almost, if I recall correctly, I could be off, but I believe there are almost 750,000 words in the entire series. Yeah, it's a lot of words, but it's so much fun, and I was ready to be done with it. When I finally wrote the last epilogue, I was ready to be done. And just recently, I've had new ideas coming, because people would say, when are you going to bring her back? We need more Willow. And I'd be like, how many times can she can tomatoes and make candles before people are bored of her, And then I came up with a new idea. And so someday, I have other serial novels I want to do first. Someday I want to do an additional tale, the continuing story, if you will, of Willow. So I'm kind of excited about that. Now, interestingly enough, Willow, if I recall correctly, and I am about 90% certain, she's the first one. Yes, I'm 100% certain. She's the first one that had a person on the cover. I had this background here originally with the past forward, and it didn't have the pink. It was just that background, had pass forward across the top and my name on the bottom, and life was good. And Ashley said, no. She's my publicist, and she said, no, I want a girl on there. And I was not happy. I didn't want a girl on there. But I kept looking and looking and looking and looking and looking, and everything I found I just didn't like. And I finally ran across her, and she was very expensive. And I was like, is it worth it to spend the money on this? Because this is a lot of money for this picture. And she's like, she's perfect, do it. And I chose her because as much as you can see her, you still can't. So she kind of got a little hidden. I've never admitted that to Ashley before. I hope she doesn't watch this. But Willow, I liked it because she looked fresh, and they would say back in the day, they would have said unspoiled. Just I really liked it. But the interesting thing is that the people who had read it as I wrote it, half of them loved her, thought she was perfect, and the other half were like, no, Willow has dark hair. And I thought it was kind of funny because I'd actually described her with blonde hair, but because I kept description like that to a minimum, because I wanted people to be able to make her what they wanted her to be, I had done it a lot better than I thought I had, because they had envisioned her opposite of what I actually said. And so there were some people that were really upset. They're like, no, this isn't her. But it worked. I like it. The pink I actually liked with it, which was kind of odd. I tried to use every other color because I did not want pink on there. And sure enough, pink was the best color. And then the back looks like this. I could just picture her drawing this. And so, it's her style. And so here's the back. And I mean, each volume is exactly the same. The covers, the spines, everything is the same. It just, the number changes. This has a 1, volume 1. But, fast forward, it began my serial novel process. And, I really like it. I love who Willow is. I love how flawed she is, and yet she's very real. And, yeah. One of the things in this book that was so interesting is how often I would forget things and have to backtrack, and sometimes I would erase and rewrite, and sometimes I would let that mistake stand and then make myself work it out. One of the cases was Chad in here has to harvest the hay for Willow when she's injured, and my family, they were farmers. I had friends in Missouri who were farmers, so I actually was there when they cut the hay. I knew basic hay, baling, cut, and stacking processes, but I forgot. And so I had written it where he had cut it and stacked it on the barn, and we went in the house, and I posted it on, and my friends on the message board. One of the gals says, he can't do that. It's going to get musty. It can catch on fire. And as soon as she wrote it, I went, oh, that's right. So I went back, and I had him do the same thing. He's flipping through, okay, what do I do next? Oh, no. And so he had to drag it back out and let it dry, So I had, some things like that happened. I've actually done some of the crafts in the book that she does. I made beef tallow candles. You should have seen the look on the butcher's face at Stater Brothers, our grocery store, when I went in and I said, I need a huge amount of hard beef fat. I need the hard fat. And they were like, okay, you know, and I was expecting to pay a fortune for this stuff. He wouldn't charge me for it. He gave it to me. And I came home and I rendered that tallow. Let me tell you something. Sorry, cat's looking weird. It took me forever. You know, I just, you know, you have to let it heat and heat and heat and strain it. And then you heat and heat and heat and you strain it. You know, it has to cool all the way each time so you can scrape off all the stuff. And you have to heat it. I mean, there's actually a blog post about it. I'll try to remember to at least link to the blog. You know, I made the candles. They're super cute. Actually, I'll pause for just a second. I have some in the freezer. So yeah, I made candles. I made them in these little jars, little blue jars. This, I think, was one that I put lavender on top, and it really did work. And then I have the little ones that I made. And we've actually used these when we've had power outages here. They worked rather well. So yeah, I mean, I did the candles. I've done, I made soap. I actually made soap before I wrote Fast Forward. It's one of the ways that I knew how to do it. I didn't have to just read about it because a friend and I made some once. I did the deodorant that she uses. I've done quite a few of the things in here. I can't remember them all. But yeah. So it's Fast Forward. And I actually have, this Volume 1 is on audio. I have Volume 2 that I'm supposed to have listened to and have done so that the narrator can get signed off on it, and I still haven't done that. I'm so busy, it's driving me crazy. But the Volume 1 is on audio. Volume 2 will be as soon as I can get that listened to. And I have coupon codes that I'm going to give away. So leave a comment in the bottom and I will draw a name for a coupon code for the audio. It's like 12 hours, 13 hours or something of audio of Volume 1. And Sarah Pavelec did the recording. She's fabulous. So yeah, it's Fast Forward. And Willow is definitely one of my favorite characters. So you have a great day, and next week we'll talk about some other book. I don't know which one yet. If you have a favorite you want to learn more about, by all means, let me know. So this is Fast Forward, and you have a good day.